Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News channel. I like to say don't panic just because Bitcoin has dipped 5 or 6,000 points. Remember, in the grand scheme of things, Bitcoin has roughly dipped 9.82% in the last 24 hours. That is a 10% retrace. Now that's fairly big, but remember Bitcoin was almost 60,000, so 1% or 10% is going to be a lot more than before. A 10% retrace is definitely not the biggest retrace we've seen in a day. Plus, we've been up so much the last few months. And the thing is, we were around 56,000 where we are now before the whole Coinbase listing pump thing. So basically, people just bought the rumor and sold the news. And now we're kind of evening out, hopefully. I know some of the altcoins have actually dumped harder, especially the altcoins that were actually pumped harder. But really, it's not really that much of a big deal. If you look at almost all the altcoins next to where they were a couple of months ago, we're all a lot higher. And I don't think we will dump all the way down. Corrections like this, I think, are healthy for the ecosystem. I mean, aside from like the like day traders, it's generally pretty healthy for the ecosystem. We need somewhere to consolidate, and I think we're still kind of like trying to fight with that 60,000 area. I know we busted it, but that's solely reliant on the Coinbase news, and that was always a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. I think Coinbase listing long term is very good for crypto. It gives crypto more credibility, and it gives crypto more influence. People will know that there's a serious multi-billion-dollar company to the tune of $100 billion in Coinbase on the stock exchange, and I think that will give more credibility to the world of crypto, which is obviously very good for our investments in the future. I think panic selling would be one of the worst things to do right now. I do think most of the coins will actually start recovering a bit in the next few days. Even if we dump to like 50,000, it's really not that big of a deal. That's still very, very high compared to where we were months ago. And right now it seems to have caught a bounce around 54,000. It's up to 56,000. And I think we'll start hanging around that 60,000 era. So this is really not that big of a deal. Like Cardano's still at 127, which is kind of like where it was before like it got up to the 140s because of the whole Coinbase pump. Polkadot's at $36, which is pretty much where it was before that. Doge is way higher, so you don't really need to worry if you bought Doge, unless you bought it like in the last day. And everything else is kind of like following line. Like VeChain is still like 21.6 cents, 21.7 cents, which is like a 50% higher than we were actually used to be. And VeChain has actually held its price better than most of the other coins. And the thing is, we're actually much, much closer to Chainlink now than we were before. So we could actually flip Chainlink and Uni and get into the top 10, maybe even BCH and LTC after that. So right now, I mean, like all the coins are actually doing well. You're still, unless you bought in within the last 24 hours, you're still making money. So there's no reason to actually panic and flip out. Like I said, panic selling is the worst thing you can do because I think like prices are actually bouncing. And if you want to get back in, you'll probably have to buy back in a lot more expensive than you actually were. We've lost 10%, and once again, 10% is really nothing in the big scheme of things. We've dumped like 20, 30% before, and basically this is just selling the Coinbase news, kind of like a weekend dump of that. If we dump more tomorrow, that's fine as well. It's just really not a big deal. It could just be a time for you to actually buy more. I don't think this bull run is over. I still think there's much more institutional money coming in, and that institutional money coming in isn't going to want their assets to go down so fast. So if you're planning on selling everything, I wouldn't do it. It's very hard to predict when it'll actually start to bounce back. And it looks like we hit a bounce at 54,000. Even if we go down to 50,000, I mean, I still think we're going to bounce up across 60,000 again very soon. We've tested 60,000 3 times now. We've gone past once and solidly once, but that was because of a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. I think next time we break 60,000, hopefully it'll be for good and we'll march our way to 70,000. But this is just like a message not to worry because realistically, there's really nothing to panic and fret about. We're still way higher than where we were a couple of months ago or even a month ago. So that is the news for today. Let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.